Youngevity is going to be our presenter, and I welcome Savina.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Let's see. This slide is not moving.
Just say next question or next slide when you're ready.
Oh, okay, next slide. Okay, great. Okay, thanks. All right, my challenge question today is, how do I build a network of independent fitness and sports influencers who can see the value of my product and share it with their followers? Next slide, please. So Youngevity is a company of revolutionary products. We believe that your health and your life can always be better. We want you to live longer, younger, longer. Next slide. So who am I? My name is Sarita Folks. I'm a holistic health coach certified with the Institute of Holistic Health. This is my second career, and I'm a recovering insurance professional. I retired in 2018. I was an agency owner with 2 offices in Vienna, McLean for over 25 years. As an entrepreneur, I wanted to serve the community and help with bringing a healthy alternative to the community that are nutrient-rich and plant-based with less sugar. I became more proactive in the health and wellness space because of health issues for myself. I've been rear-ended 4 times in the last 25 years, 2 times in the last 5, and again last year, right before COVID in March 2020. Even after physical therapy, my core strength was weak, not able to exercise, and lack of stamina. After consistently drinking Rebound, I was able to have more energy and stamina when I exercise. It's refreshing and it tastes good. Next slide, please. So what I offer is a tasty, refreshing alternative to the popular sports drinks that are on the market that are loaded with calories, sugar, and sodium. My product, Rebound FX, is that product. It's low in calories, carbs, sugar, and sodium. So Rebound has this, in each serving, it has antioxidants, vitamins, plant-based minerals, and herbs. Rebound is designed to give you sustained energy, refuel your body, and offers a balance of nutrients with no artificial colors or flavors. Next slide, please. My customers are sports and activity enthusiasts, so all ages from little league players to the pro athletes. People who drink a sports drink will find the benefit from Rebound. There is a noticeable difference in the taste and how the body responds after drinking this wonderful, refreshing drink. When you exercise, you're sweating out your nutrients from your pores that cannot be replaced by drinking only water. Next slide, please. Why is Rebound FX different? It's a citrus fusion and a healthy alternative to your average sports drink, providing you with a variety of energy-boosting nutrients that will also replenish your body and support optimal health. Because we're a nutrition industry, we can't make any claims. It's not approved by the Food and Drug Administration. And we don't diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Next slide. So my competition is Gatorade, Powerade, and vitamin water. Rebound is better because we offer 24 vitamins and minerals in each serving compared to only 8 in our competitors' drinks. So ours has less carbs, which is 8.5% compared to 14 in Gatorade, 17 in Powerade, and vitamin water, except 13 respectively. This is the same for all the numbers. More potassium, we have 100 milligrams compared to 30 in Gatorade, 30 Powerade, 0 in vitamin water. We have less sodium, only 10 milligrams compared to 110 in Gatorade, 55 in Powerade, and 0 in vitamin water. We have plant-derived minerals, 118 milligrams compared to 0. None of them have any minerals in their energy drinks. And less sugar, 8.5 milligrams compared to 14 grams in Gatorade, 15 in Powerade, and 13 in vitamin water. Next slide, please. This is Rebound. This is what it looks like. It comes in a canister, it comes in to-go packs, and also in a can. It supports healthy exercise, promotes optimal well-being. It is a proprietary formulation. It supports cardiovascular health, supports your immune system. It boosts your stamina and energy, promotes healthy bones. You'll have less fractures and has a great citrus taste. Next slide, please. So how do I build a network of independent fitness and sports influencers who can see the value of my product and share it with their followers?
Thank you, Sarita. It's good to hear from you today and to hear about your product and your business. As I mentioned, I'd like people to raise your hands either underneath the reactions tab on the lower right side of your Zoom window, or you can physically raise your hand and I'll call on you. Our first question comes from Marnie.
My first question, Sarita, because I think that's a great market for you, is what are you currently doing to reach out to those fitness and sports influencers? And then I think I might, once I hear that, maybe I can have some other ideas.
Okay, so right now I just started networking. So I've gotten into joining some groups so I can meet, fitness instructors and people in the physical therapy area, chiropractors, and anybody in the fitness space that understands nutrition already. So I've met a couple of nutritionists, and actually one physician reached out to me that she does PT. And so I'm connecting with people through networking. That's where I've started.
So there's definitely some focused Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups that I think you might have, LinkedIn in particular, that I think you might have some success with, that you can search for those specific fitness and sports professionals. That would be my first suggestion. I'll leave it there. Let everyone else.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Marnie. Dan Lender. Then after Dan, Melinda, and then I have some feedback for you. Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, thanks.
Morning, Sarita. You and I, let's catch up after this. I see one of the Washington Nationals who's one of my clients all the time, and so maybe I could get some of your product and introduce it to them, and if they like it, they would potentially share that information. And so let's talk after this.
Sure, great. Thank you so much.
Melinda, go ahead. And then, like I said, I'll have a question.
Dan read my mind. I was going to talk about sports, and that's a phenomenal introduction, Dan. I was going to also suggest that you get into the public schools you're in Fairfax County, where you offer it for the sports for the teams, and maybe you can offer it to them at a really good discount so that they get to try it, especially on your side of Alexandria with the schools, because if they can use it with football coming up in the fall and all the other sports, and the kids like it, you may even want to contact school nurses to get into the programs, or school principals, and figure out a way that you can get it to the schools at a very, very great price, and then offer it to the students, or even offer the students an opportunity, if they know anybody, that they can earn some free product from you, or put some promotions and other things together. But that's a really great way to get the sports going. And I think the Nationals, you can't get anything better than that. And Dan's intro is phenomenal.
Yeah.
After that, you want to start to look at chiropractors. You want to look at other folks that are in alternative medicine, because they are also a great distribution channel for you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Melinda. So I have some comments. Then Jen, you had dropped a couple questions into chat, and Sean, I see your hand is up. So Sarita, I know that Marnie touched on Facebook groups, etc. My question for you is, how are you building up an online presence, whether it's website, social media, blog posts, guest podcast appearances, that sort of thing, to support your distribution channel that you're trying to build here with professionals who are going to be looking for some trust building factors behind their interaction with you?
I'm in the process now. I've been talking with some other people to set up my website I have a Facebook page, but it's not really geared to products because I always hear you don't want to put products out there. But I do need a website, and I'm working on that right now to get that up and running in the next week.
Okay, great. I would recommend that you also seek out some help with social media. Influencers clearly are going to need that support. And there's a few folks we can connect you with who do that. In fact, one of our folks that'll be joining us next week would be a good contact for you.
Okay.
So I'll connect you guys by email.
Great.
Jen, you are up, and then Sean.
Morning, Sarita. Great presentation. Where are you located? And the only reason I ask is if it's not in the DC market, that would be helpful, I think, for folks to know. Because one of the suggestions I would make would be to look at local charity runs, 5Ks, 10Ks, sporting events where you can sponsor a booth or table and be the provider. And smaller events like that may not have big sponsors like a Gatorade. And even if they do, you can compete there. But I would look at some of those types of things. I think that would be huge. The sugar piece is really frustrating with Gatorade and other sports drinks. So I think really targeting moms and for sure would be huge. And so, looking at sponsoring a local kids sports team wherever you are. So I'll go back to my first question. Where are you located?
I'm in Alexandria, Fairfax County.
Okay, so you are nearby. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there's plenty of events that I think you could sponsor and collaborate with other groups on.
Okay, cool. Kids events. Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Sean, you are up next, and then John Foster.
Great. Fantastic product. And yeah, I think a lot of the suggestions are great, especially from the social media influencer side and everything else. I would say there is one large component, and that's really the children from the female side of things. I think it's a very underrepresented. A lot of the drinks, sports drinks, are at major events for the boys, but not for the girls. So whether it's Germantown Sportsplex type of events for soccer teams, whether it's softball tournaments for the girls side of things, strangely enough, most of the sports drinks operators, whether it's vitamin water, even Honest Tea, we'll get into it, just because they're owned and operated by large entities. They will go to the boy and male dominated events, but not the girl events. So I'd say maybe focus some attention on that side of things. The influencer side of things is much less expensive as well. When you start looking at some of the social media influencer on that side of things, especially on the sports side. So I would say, like Dominic Dawes opened a lot of, gymnastic gyms around in the Maryland area. I think that's a great potential influencer for you to utilize as well. She just released a new thing called Golden with that's on Peacock, especially with gymnastics coming up. So I would say maybe focus some attention on, especially being a woman owner as well. I think that'd be exceptionally well, positioned to really make a splash in a market dominated by men.
Cool. Awesome. Great idea. Thank you.
And feel free to reach out to me. I know most of the professional leagues, professional athletes side of my brain, and can definitely locally hook you up with whether it's Redskins or Wizards or a lot of those people as well. So happy to put you in those connections. But I do believe that on the women's side it is underrepresented.
Good. Yeah, it's good to get kids off of sugar, so that would be great.
Yeah, and one more thing, just because I don't want to drone on, but the chiropractic side, especially because of your experience, I think makes a lot of sense. I work with a ton of associations, and obviously I can put you in contact with those associations as well that do promote, healthy bodies and quote unquote rebounding. So something like the Chiropractic Association is a fantastic idea as well. easy to get some influence through there through some, inexpensive sponsorships.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I have met one
Yep.
chiropractor through my networking, so that's a good
Cool.
intro. Thank you.
Yep.
Very good.
Great, thanks, Sean. Great comments. A couple of quick reminders. If you could please put your type in your feedback, recommendations, comments into chat. We share that with Sarita. Make sure your contact information is in there as well. John Foster, I have you up next, then Jennifer Rose, then one of the Sarah Condis. I'm not sure which one.
Great. Thank you, Rosemary. Sarita, love the presentation, love the products. I haven't tried it yet, but I will certainly do that because I am all about health and nutrition and wellness. It's funny, yet literally yesterday I was listening to a podcast, and I'll put the profile by Kara Golden, who started Hint, which is the fruit infused water. And she has a book that just came out, but certainly from a resource standpoint, understanding what she's gone through may be helpful to you. So I'll put her LinkedIn profile in the chat for you. I found it to be fascinating as far as, just where she went, has gone from and to. So I'll put that in the chat for you.
Sure. I wish we were in person. I could give everybody a sample, but
Thank you, John. Jennifer Rose.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I tuned in a little bit late. Sarita, great presentation. It's good to see you today. A couple of thoughts. Jumping on with what Sean said about the sports, the tournaments and stuff. I just spent 2 days this weekend in Richmond at a lacrosse tournament. Granted, it was a boys tournament. It was hot. It was miserable. There were not nearly enough vendors there to accommodate folks. Dialing into those tournaments for all kinds of sports would be smart for you. Offering samples. I know as a mom, I'm hesitant to buy something for my boys until they've tried it, because they're like, oh, I'm going to love it. And you buy like 10 bottles and then they drink it and they're like, I don't want this. So setting up at those tournaments to offer the free samples, and then, sales on site would be great. Hitting those girls tournaments, super smart. And I would encourage you, speaking of girls, to check out Alana Andrews. She is a high school student in Loudoun County, amazing young woman who's launched a low sugar or sugar-free sports drink called Sway, SWEY. She's just done that this year. But I would check in to see what she's doing in social media, how she's tapping into folks. She is a remarkable young lady anyway, and anybody on this call should check her out. She's going to go far and do some amazing things. And of course, Sarita, leverage that Chamber of Commerce out there in Alexandria. And if I can do anything to help connect you with chiropractors and folks like that, I'm happy to do it.
great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sarah, the nice one. If you can go ahead and ask your question. We can't hear you, Sarah. You're muted somehow. Now I see why we have two Sarahs. Still can't hear you, sorry.
Go ahead and drop your question in chat.
Yeah, that'd be great. Melinda, while Sarah's putting her question in, Melinda.
Sure. Another area that's always something that I like to recommend is sororities and fraternities, because they are active on the campus level, and the sorority and fraternity alumni groups are very active in their communities. And they're always looking to be natural and do things that are healthy. But it would be a great way to get into college campuses, because a lot of the sororities and fraternities are very active on their campuses. The other thing too is you could start a college program and get into a lot of the colleges and start here in Fairfax County and Northern Virginia with some of the colleges, which would be another great market for you to go after.
Awesome feedback.
Yeah. Okay.
Sarah, sorry.
Sorry about that.
There we go. We can hear you now.
Good morning, Sarita. One of the
morning.
things that I'm not in the health and fitness world, but one of the things that really what I found really engaging about your presentation was your personal story. I loved how you said you escaped from insurance. I thought that was really like you're recovering, I thought that was really interesting. And from a branding standpoint, I think sharing your story and personalizing, why this matters to you, that to me was more compelling than going through the different levels of like sugar. Cause I can look at that visually and see, but like to me, what was compelling was your story. And then also kind of harping on, I agree with you're a Black business owner, you're a woman business owner, and you're someone who saw, the best entrepreneurial stories are someone who saw a gap in the market. And so for themselves, and then they went to address that problem. That's always interesting, it pulls people in. So I think you have a really great brand story that that you could have someone help build out who's good at that would really be compelling, like on a video or something for your site.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
Awesome. I am going to give you another suggestion before asking Dan Lender to step in. Oh, I had the thought. I'm having a senior moment. Sorry, Sarita.
It's okay. It'll come back.
It will come back. Dan, are you having a non-senior moment? Can you actually speak your mind?
Thank you, Rosemary. I'm looking out the window and I see a contractor and they're replacing the insulation in the attic of one of our neighbors, and it's going to be really hot today, so I feel for them. But it made me think of like all the construction that's going on, and if you felt like if you had some spare time and you wanted to give out samples, I can't imagine more. You could pick someplace near you or a company. And if you wanted to hand out samples, because I think people that's one of the best ways that people will actually see and try your product. And no one's going to turn down and there is some cost to it, but no one's going to turn down a sample. Like I'm looking at these guys, and they would take anything liquid they could possibly get their hands on right now.
So get a case of ice cold water and samples and just go for it, right?
Just anything, or your product, I was thinking, but just it's a very lucrative or very captive audience, especially on times like this.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for the save, Dan. I appreciate it, and great insights. Sarita, I was thinking that, of course, now that it's summer and everybody's outside, you could, if you were willing to give out samples, you could go to farmers markets, you could find tournaments. There's tons of tournaments every weekend. If you're focused on sports and sports participants, that's great. If you're actually looking to create this channel of professionals like sports influencers, like fitness influencers, what I would suggest is that you actually look for conferences now that everything's starting to be rescheduled for in-person conferences, where you can get a booth set up inside one of these conferences and bring that back to a number of folks who can go ahead and try your product. And also, if you're setting up this network, you might want to offer them something to join it. So just kind of that approach. So thank you for letting me remember what I had on my mind. I'll put it in chat. Tony has a question, then Melinda, then John Rutenberg.
So, Sarita, the primary question is, everybody's making some great ideas and suggestions about passing out samples, but I know that you probably have a finite number of samples in your budget and that you can share, knowing how you are, when you're networking, how you sit there and share your product out. They're nice little cups, but yeah, they're not the big things that people sit there and like get hooked on. And my question is this: if based on the amount of stuff that you can do or share out, have you thought, and I mentioned pools, lifeguards, if you have ever dealt with them, are bored about 6 hours a day, and they get hot, they get sweaty. They drink water because that's the only thing that usually they're able to get. Even if there's a snack bar there, they have to pay for the Gatorade or whatever else they do. And if they bring something, they usually bring it from home. These kids are on their phones most of the time, chatting about what they like and dislike. And I think what you do is if you approach them with it, going from one pool to another, letting them try it, they communicate back and forth with other pools. And what you do is you start an influencer circle in that area because they connect with the swim teams, but they also connect with the soccer teams, the softball teams, the baseball teams, the football teams in the high school and the college arena. And yes, there may be a cost in doing it, like giving a kid a packet, that they can put there, and because they all have their own water bottles and stuff like that. But you get them starting to say, here's a packet for you to try. And if you like me on social media, let me know, send it to me, and I'll give you a discount so you can buy more. That will get it rolling and start basically the infectious sales of people sitting there and going online and looking. Of course, you have to have the website up and running.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Melinda, you're next, and then John Rutenberg.
Tony, you read my mind a little bit too, because I was writing soccer moms. When I worked on Dannon years ago, one of my target audiences were soccer moms, and there are ways to reach to soccer moms all over the country. You just need to do it in this area. I had also put down swimming pools because I thought when you were doing things outside, the lifeguards as well as families, a lot of kids are there with their parents. And if you had a sample that you could give them or something that they could put it, I don't know if it's something you mix or you buy it already mixed up. If you put it in water, you also may want to look into partnering with one of the local water companies. And I'm thinking, bottled water, because they're always looking to sell bottled water. And what if they were able to sell the bottled water with a sample of your drink, other types of things like that. I stuck a whole bunch of other things in the chat, so I don't want to take too much time since other people want to ask questions. But as people were talking, I was thinking of other ideas, and you'll get the chat from us after this meeting. So don't worry about downloading it and reading it right now.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Melinda. Good insights, John Rutenberg. You're up, and then Jen, you had a number of comments in the chat.
Thank you, Sarita, for having the great presentation skills, encouraged to stand up and hear all of these comments. The good news, it's recorded and you get to chat, and there have been fabulous ideas. And so I'll exclude my own. I think the most critical thing is to target in on your challenge question and define whether you need to be focused on influence or consumers. And everything is step by step. You're only one person. So to focus on the influencers, build a network of fitness and independent fitness and sports influencers. Which target depends on distribution. Because if you're in growing a group of people who become the channel, that's different than selling through every program out there, though getting demand up is really critical to the process, and being at the conferences and being at the right events clearly is critical to finding the influencers. So we don't know how big your organization, but if it's you, there are people in this room who can make amazing connections for you to the right events to be at, way beyond me. And focusing on the influencers requires a budget. And I don't know what that is, but you need to step back and think about it. Just my thoughts.
Okay, great. That's good. Because influencers are the ones who will push it out. And then, from that, the market creates itself and the demand is created by that.
And the product itself is drop shipped?
Yes.
Okay, so, yeah, okay. So again, just focusing on the channel, I think is critical.
Yeah. You're right. Good. Thank you, John.
Yeah, some of the channel is out there in those
Yes.
events and conferences. Clearly, that's where the professionals hang out.
Yeah. And I think that once, you know, they get to try to sample it and they like it, it'll take on its own, you know, its own journey because they'll see the benefit of it. And so far, everybody loves it.
Awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you, John. for your
Thank you.
work. Jen, I know Jennifer Dalton, I know that you had dropped a couple of comments in, and then Melinda, is your hand raised again, or is that from before?
It is. It was just to add a comment to what John just said, and I wanted to do a little plug for Central Fairfax.
Hold on, Jennifer
Okay.
next.
Okay.
I was going to recommend, back to John's point, to your core question, it'd be good to reach out to organizations like Lifetime Fitness and just see how do they onboard products, because there's usually a process for adding a new product, but that's a national chain that could be really helpful. I rode in high school competitively, and so I am biased about regattas, but it just so happens there is one coming up this Saturday, or Saturday the 10th. And it's at the Capitol Rowing Club in Anacostia. So rowing tends to be pretty under-tapped, although it's the best sport ever, except for gymnastics, because I did watch that this week. But yeah, I would look at some of those events where it's so hot. I mean, we used to consume Gatorade like it was going out of style, and it would be great to have something that didn't have sugar. I don't know if they'll let you do a booth, but that could be one where, you can show up and you can sell bottles if you have enough quantity. I'm not a big fan of giving everything away for free. And, find ways to have partnerships, find ways to sell. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have samples, and you shouldn't always have samples for everything. That doesn't make sense.
Okay, great. And so the rowing, so connection with the rowing team or the event that you're telling me about, you can let me know about that.
I will. I'll put the information in chat so
Okay.
that you have a website and link to it.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Awesome ideas, Jen. Thanks for bringing up people who spend their time on the water. Excellent. Melinda, you are up next.
Great. I just wanted to do a little plug for Jennifer Rose at Central Fairfax Chamber. It's a small business chamber, and she can give you an idea of what's going on in your area. Also, I can introduce you to Mount Vernon Lee Chamber, which you are in the district for. I was active in that, and they will also know what events are going on in the area. So I think between those two chambers, you can find local events that are going on this summer, and they're usually not that expensive to get a tabletop where you can be there to offer a sample and give people more information and just have, a small table with an umbrella so you stay cool. And maybe even tie into whoever is giving away water there, because I assume your product goes in water and you mix it in water.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Melinda.
Thank you.
Sarita, we didn't ask you this, and it doesn't mean one thing or another if you say yes or no.
Okay.
You might want to connect with Donnell and the veterans networks, the veteran entrepreneur networks that he works with.
Okay.
Just because people leave the service does not mean that they leave their sports fitness behind. And actually, many very active veteran entrepreneurs are running fitness organizations, fitness companies, fitness entrepreneurial groups. So reaching out with Donnell and Renetta as well, connecting with them and connecting into their veterans entrepreneurial network will also open up a huge channel for you through them also.
Okay.
So I would pursue that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jennifer Dalton, I see that you put in a couple of other comments.
I did. I threw out summer camps and maybe looking at park takes and looking at a few upcoming summer camps, doing some partnership or collaboration. One of our past presenters and attendees is from Fish and Explore, which is a summer camp, which would be great to partner with. And then this is a little bit off topic, but what do golf courses do? I would talk to maybe a few golf courses in the area and see what it would take for them to be willing to try, your product as well. And how do you become a vendor? Many companies like locally owned, women owned, right? And would be happy to promote and give you a shot. But I think golf courses, like guys are going to go out and golf. Nothing will keep them back. Women too, but typically more men.
Yeah.
But I think that could be a great test case for them to use too.
Okay, cool. All right, I can stop local. Thank you. Great suggestions. Ooh.
And I can put you in contact with a lot of the golf courses. Most of them are managed by one overseeing entity that manages about 800 different golf courses. Some of them are local community courses, but most of them are managed by a national firm. So I'll send you that data details as well.
Awesome. Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Great ideas, everybody.
Yes.
Melinda, your hand is still up. I don't know if that's leftover or if you have something new.
It was left over, but I will add that with the golf courses, you can go to the golf shops and look at that. You can also look at military bases where they might be able to sell your product with the water, in a display next to the water. And you could create a real quick display that you could use for other applications like that. Your company might even have something that you can use. You can ask the question.
Okay.
Jennifer Rose, I see your hand up. Thank you for asking a question before we get to our final question in a few moments.
Yeah, and just going back to Sarita's initial challenge question about building that network of influencers. Earlier this year, I'm going back to my kids' lacrosse. Earlier in the season, they were required to wear the masks while they were playing lacrosse, which is horrible, right? You're running up and down the field. It makes you want to throw up, and many of the kids did. So my husband found online this really meshy mask for the kids to try. Well, we bought them. Then the kids wanted them. Then the coach wanted them. Then the athletic director's asking about them. And then he's deciding to order them for the whole staff and teams at their school. I had put into the comments earlier, we were talking about schools in general. Tap into those private schools. There's a lot less red tape than you get with the public schools. I know with Fairfax County, if you want to be a vendor with the schools, you got to jump through hoops of flame and fire and fill out forms in triplicate. With the private schools, you may not necessarily have to do that. And those athletic directors, they talk to each other. They're all parts of different athletic conferences. And that could be a great way for you to tap into one of the sports influencers.
Okay, great. So a connection into the private schools, where would I start with that?
Well, there's,
I can
connect you with a few because my kids are in private school.
Okay.
But there are a gazillion private schools in the region.
Gotcha.
K through 8 and high school as well. So there's no
Okay.
shortage of them. The Virginia Association of Independent Schools is a good place to start, but I can connect you with a couple.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, I would recommend that you endeavor to connect via LinkedIn with as many of the folks on today's call as you can.
Yes.
I would remind everyone that if you have not yet put in your contact details, especially email, LinkedIn profiles, phone number, if you care to share it, please do so now. Any final questions before we go to the final question? Okay, Tony, can you please ask the final question for us today?
Thank you, Rosemary. Sarita, wonderful job today. This was a really good, I think, exciting discussion with everybody. And I want to thank you for letting me cut your original deck down to so few slides, because I know that you probably had a certain look on your face last night when you saw it and said, what? But at this point, now that you've been through the gauntlet and have come out the other side, my question to you is this: how can the 1 Million Cups community continue to support and help you.
Wow. You guys have, I'm almost overwhelmed by all the all the suggestions and information. So I think you've served me well at this point, but I appreciate your support, and I will definitely reach out to everybody. So at this point, I think you guys are great, and this is more than I expected. So I'm thrilled.
Well, then I'd ask that if you can share this with your other people that you know who are independent business owners and entrepreneurs, and share with them your experience here so that they have the opportunity to in the future present as well.
Excellent. Yes, I will.
Wonderful.
So Sarita, again, thank you so much. And the challenge now is you got 147 amazing comments, and figuring out which 3 are central to you has got to take place shortly so that it's effective.
Right.
And Ronetta is going to bug you to come back in 90 days to update us.
Okay.
So that's one of your responsibilities. The other, and Tony referred to it, and I just want to emphasize it because it's one of our most important challenges as a group. We need you to refer us to other people who can join our group, some of whom can be presenters. And for everyone, those are our challenges as the group of volunteers meet and discuss things on Monday. It's easy to assign who'll be the MC next month and who'll be the moderator. It's harder to remember it, but we have people on the group who write the stuff down, which is good. So, but we do need more participants, expand our community. We need more presenters. So to everyone, and Sarita, to you, because you're a testimony that it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
The challenge is whittling it down.
Yeah.
So lots of luck and thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I have to do my homework. Yes.
Great job, Sarita. Next week, we have Infi Financial, or INFI Financial. That's going to be a very powerful presentation. It's for young people and financing. Next slide, please.
It's
go
infinite.
ahead.
It's he's building a company that's an infinite banking company. He is trying to do all aspects of financial, from banking to retirement to investing, you name it. He's trying to do the whole spectrum. He's a former congressional staffer who now lives in Chicago and is trying to build his company.
And the son of our presenter a couple weeks ago, Jeanette. So next week we need presenters for July 14th, 21st, and 28th, and all of August. So please let us know who you know. I know we've got a couple in the hopper that are supposed to come to us, but if you're interested, please apply. And then don't worry about the presentation. Our leadership team will help you write your slides and tell your story. Next slide, please. Upcoming events. Jennifer, I noticed you're in the audience. Can you talk about the Central Fairfax events?
Yes, I am so happy to do so. Thank you, Melinda. This evening, while I realize it's going to be hotter than the gates of hell tonight, we do have our Young Professionals quarterly networking event at PJ Skidoo's at 5:30. Everyone says, what's a young professional? We don't card people at the door. In fact, we like to have the young professionals in the room and the young at heart professionals in the room. Some built-in mentors there. We do have plenty of room for folks. So if you are able to join us, you can register today and get there. And then if your chamber member's on the call, and I haven't looked at the participant list, our annual pre-parade networking breakfast on Saturday before the City of Fairfax's parade is a beloved event for all. And we've got quite a few movers and shakers that will be in attendance. If you're not a chamber member and you want to come, you have a few days to join, my friend. And then, of course, the parade is on Saturday in the city of Fairfax, and the fireworks show will be on Sunday in the evening. They got a great 70s band that's going to play, so it should be a lot of fun. Come on out and spend some time in the city of Fairfax.
Thanks, Jennifer. I talked to Karen and she wanted me to mention one of her events that's coming up on July 13th. I put it into the chat. It's the Entrepreneurship 101 with Emmett McHenry. He's a tech rock star. He started the Netcom solution, the .net domain names. And that's in the chat, and we can get you more information on that next week. Next slide, please. Want to thank everybody for coming today. As you know, entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. We do it by ourselves, and this is a time where we can all get together, share coffee, put a smile on our face, and help others that are doing the same thing that we are. So as you know, we meet every Wednesday at the same time from 9 to 10 o'clock. And that is done around the country. So if you want to get into another time zone and watch another group and get involved and see what they're doing, you can do that. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Next slide, please. We are part of the Kauffman Foundation, and Kauffman is about communities, entrepreneurship, and education to increase opportunities that allow people to learn to take risks and own their success. And we thank Kauffman for our being there and our existence. And thank you all. Please hang out if you'd like to and just chat after the meeting. We will be here if anybody has any questions.
See you, everybody. I got to run.
Okay.